24 mind-blowing historical facts, bruh. According to Reddit. Number 24. Not only did John Adams and Thomas Jefferson die within hours of one another, it was on July 4th, the 50th anniversary of the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. Well, how do you like that? Response reads, Jefferson died first, and Adams' last words were, Jefferson lives, since the news didn't reach him yet. Oh my god, Stripes is calling me in the middle of this list. I'm not even... Stripes.
What?
I just started a list and you called like in the middle of it, not even one in. People are gonna swear this is staged.
But like, you let me know 2 minutes ahead of time and you just give up on me? That's a real shame.
I didn't let you know of shit. I asked you if you were up, and then, man, there's a lot of feedback. Turn your shit down if you can, just a little bit.
Alright.
The list that I'm reading is 24 mind-blowing historical facts, bruh. According to Reddit. Love saying that.
How many are you in?
Only one. So I'm
then
gonna
why don't you just start the list over?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Number 23. Epcot, Disney. The entire theme park at Walt Disney World was built in 3 years. It takes longer to get new shopping plazas finished today. Largest construction job in the world at the time. I heard that Disney famously got a whole bunch of companies with like fake names to buy land that would inevitably become Disney. So like they got a whole bunch of different companies, a bunch of different fake companies with fake names, and then they bought the land because it'd be cheaper that way, and then they all, it was all just Disney the whole time, and then they built the parks on there. And apparently on some of the strips, like some of the little lanes that you go down in Disney, they all have the names on the strips of the fake companies. You believe that?
Where do you learn shit like that?
Like a smack in the face to the man, you know what I mean? You don't want to give me this land? Well, you'll give it to him, right? And what if you give it to that guy as well? But all those guys were just me, you bitch. I got you. What?
So you think they specifically just didn't want to get their land turned into Disney World? Or why? What if
You're overthinking it, mate. You're overthinking it, mate. One person wants like 50 acres of land, you're going to charge them a crazy price. But
okay, I understand.
If 5 people want 10 acres of land, you'll charge them, less than it will amount to all of it. Because that's the way the world works. Number 22, that the Roman Empire existed for over 2,000 years in one form or another. And there were people calling themselves Romans until 1800. Damn. 2,000 years is like impossible for us to really think about, considering our lifetimes rarely get lucky enough to be 100. You know what I mean? That's not even a 10th. That's a 20th of this shit. Jesus, bing bong Christ. Number 21.
Are you saying you're just waiting for the day that society collapses and we're built over by some other society?
I didn't say that. I don't know where that came from, Stripes. How long have you been awake, Stripes? Rhetorical question. I'm not serious. Okay.
10 hours.
Oh my god, dude. Number 21. It is believed that the human population dipped as low as 1,000 people about 70,000 years before Christ. Evolution into Butterfree? I don't know what the hell BCE means, but before BCE, fuck me. We could very well have been a few stillbirths or saber-tooth maulings away from extinction. Jesus Christ, what a way to think of things. When reduced to such low numbers, the survival of a species truly teeters on a knife's edge. It's the difference of a handful of births to too few and you dip below minimum viable population. Our survival could have come down to something as trivial as some tribes finding a spring or gazelle in the nick of time. Damn. What a way to think of the things that have gone down in our past.
Is that humbling? To think that all it amounts to you?
I mean, you can humble yourself really easy just by thinking about like how insignificant you are in the grander scale, not just like globally, but
humbling.
like what?
I guess that's humbling, but it's more depressing and existential, I think.
It's not depressing. It's just, you know, looking at things realistically, like mathematically. When you look at our existence on this planet as, you know, as it contrasts our place in our solar system, in our fucking little cluster, you know what I'm talking about? Fuck me. Oh wow, the next one's a planet one. Number 20, Pluto didn't even get to complete one orbit around the sun between the time it was discovered and the time it was declassified as a planet. Who gives a fuck? Like the orbit would have made it like any specialer, you know what I mean? Declassified.
I don't think that would fit in the back of a Snapple, but it sounds like a Snapple fact to me.
Pluto takes 248 of our years to complete one orbit around the sun. Wow. Like it was discovered 87 years ago, Pluto has only completed 35% of its orbit since being discovered. Wow. Well, since we discovered it, we mean. Number 19, a lot of things happened at different times to what people think, and eras we think of being distinct blur into each other. When the Taj Mahal was built in 1632, the Portuguese had already been in control of Goa, a different part of India, for over 100 years. Virginia was founded in 1607, when Shakespeare was still alive. Between 1613 and 1620, around the same time as Galileo being accused of heresy, and Pocahontas arriving in England, a Japanese samurai called Hasekura Tsunenaga sailed to Rome via Mexico, where he met the Pope and was made a Roman citizen. It was the last official Japanese visit to Europe until 1862, and the last major cavalry charge took place in 1942 on the Eastern Front of the Second World War. How interesting.
Neat. I mean, there's going to be innovations in different parts of the world going on at the same time, so I don't know if this is really counting as it.
Who knows what you're even talking about, Stripes? I
don't
think
know
you
this
even
belongs
know.
here is all I'm saying.
It does. It's historically fun. What he's saying is that a lot of things that happen historically, because there's so much of it,
Interlap.
Yes, overlap. Number 18, a bit more recent history. In 1956, for a bet and while drunk, a man stole a small plane from New Jersey and then landed it perfectly on a narrow street in front of the bar he had been drinking at. Then 2 years later, he did it again after a man didn't believe he had done it the first time. The fact that this guy stole 2 planes when drunk and landed them perfectly blows my mind. And there's an article. What kind of bing bong Fresno monkey slosh?
Oh, wait, are we under the condition that you can't share screens with me right now so I can't see pictures?
Oh, for the love of bing bong. You are just trizzling out the frizzy wimbles today.
I'm being good, okay?
I swore this video was going to be short too, but we're making good time. Let's not break momentum. Number 17, General Charles Lee was obsessed with his dogs to the point that he basically treated them like his children. Mr. Spada was his Pomeranian and favorite. He routinely used to write paragraphs of his regular correspondence with John Adams like they were from Mr. Spada. This was the kind of asshole that's on Facebook right now. And people were doing this shit back then. It kind of blows my mind. I don't know why I just thought, like, I wouldn't say people were barbaric back then or like a little more serious than we are now, you know? But the idea that somebody back then, a grown-ass man, was writing letters as if they were from a fucking dog to another man blows my mind. Let me finish this first. He also once refused to speak to Abigail Adams until she shook Spada's paw hello. And someone once said he would have been a great politician if his constituents each possessed 4 legs and a tail. Dude just loved puppies more than people. What the fuck? What the fuck? What were you trying to say?
Where's the line between eccentric and crazy? Because I'm pretty sure
there was no line back then. That's the bottom line. Number 16, America was one vote off from importing hippos.
What?
Somebody said, I read an article not long ago about Pablo Escobar's hippos from his private zoo and how they've escaped the confines of what used to be the park zoo, and no one really knows how many of them are out there because unlike Africa, Colombia has no seasonal droughts, so they reproduce basically unchecked.
But, like, I'm just thinking if they were in America, where would they even, like, roam free? If import means, like, just release them into the wild and not keep them in zoos.
I think we got land, Stripes. You ain't got to worry about shit like that.
They'd probably be in Florida, you know? Because of all the swamp land.
Man. Number 15. That at the same time, the U.S. Civil War was going on, which killed about 600,000 people and served as probably our greatest national tragedy, China was in the throes of the Taiping Rebellion. The Taiping Rebellion is the largest civil conflict in human history, and best estimates put the death toll somewhere north of 20 million? Really reminds you of just how many people live in Asia. What the fuck? 20 million? I had no idea. I had no idea of this war at all. You know, it shows you just how dropped the ball is in school. I don't remember anything ever about a Taiping Rebellion. I don't recall that being taught to me at any point. That's a large casualty number. And you know that the way news works is that they sensationalize the numbers. You know what I mean? There's a shooting. Something happened. Oh, well, how many dead? How many are injured? That's what matters when people are detailing a lot of these incidents. And 20 million is a fucking hefty number, dude. 10 million's crazy. 5 million's nuts. 1 million is insane. The Civil War was 600,000, Stripes. That's just over 500,000. And this was 20 million? Bing bong. Stripes. Number 14. The last execution by guillotine was after the first Star Wars movie. You can stop the blade. Do or do not. There is. His head came off.
I really want an off-brand Snapple drink to put these on, but I don't think. Like, what flavor would it be?
It would be number 13 flavored. The Tale of Two Lovers is an erotic novel that was one of the best-selling books of the 15th century. Tale of Two Lovers. Interesting. So this was like a kind of like a pornographic, 50 Shades of Grey bullshit back in the 15th century. It was written by Pope Pius II before he assumed the papacy. So the then pre-pope was writing erotic literature. He was writing that erotic fan fiction, baby. Tale of two lovers, apart from one another, a war divides their people.
You should see if you can find a copy of it on Amazon.
Come on now. I hope it's preserved somewhere. A Tale of Two Lovers. I'd love to read that. We can find that. We can find that. I'll read it for the channel.
On your channel?
Someone find me A Tale of Two Lovers. I'll read that for the channel. Bing bong.
And put it on your... Well, no, I guess you could just find it.
Where is it? Where is The Tale of Two Lovers? Was one of the best-selling books of the 15th century, even before its author became Pope. The Tale of Two Lovers. We got to find this thing. I actually need to not be so wild.
Text was edited? Wait, there was like something at the bottom that could have helped you on your hunt.
The last American Civil War widow's pension was paid in 2003. Oh my god, that was awesome. Stripes just got yelled at. in like an old school, like her mom just busted like to yell at her fashion that is old school. But yeah, no, I know what that's like, man. I really do need a place soon too. Oh my bing bong. Ugh. Number 11. The Oxford University is older than the Aztec civilization. That Cambridge University is older than the Easter Island heads. Oxford is so old that no one knows when it actually was founded. They only know people were teaching there as of 1096, but don't know how long that had been going on. That's ridiculous. Number 10. That the Romans and the Chinese knew about each other and actually communicated semi-regularly. A response reads, the Chinese called the Romans Dakin and envisioned them as a kind of mirror China on the other side of the world. Wow. Someone else responds, I'm interested. Are there some sources I can read about this? And another person says Dakin is the another person links to a Wikipedia. The Wikipedia reads as follows. The excerpt reads as follows. Dakin is the ancient Chinese name for the Roman Empire, or depending on context, the Near East, especially Syria. It literally means great king. Qin being the name of the founding dynasty of the Chinese Empire. Chinese sources describe several ancient Roman embassies arriving in China, beginning in 166 AD and lasting into the 3rd century. These early embassies were said to arrive in a maritime route via the South China Sea in the Chinese province of Jiangxi. This is boring me. Love you, guys. Gotta continue here. Number 9. Alexander the Great defeated Darius II of the Persian Empire, the largest empire in the world at the time, by meeting them in a field in open combat. And he did it twice. In the first battle, he was outnumbered 7-1. In the second battle, he was outnumbered 10-1, and he fucking decimated the Persians. Alexander can't be that fucking amazing. And he conquered and ruled one of the largest empires in history. He was 32 when he died. I'm 32 and still...
Hello?
What?
Sorry, I just couldn't hear you.
You okay?
I mean, no one likes being burst in on, but that's besides the fact.
You in trouble?
Kinda?
Over?
Just being a slob, I suppose.
Oh my god, Stripes, just clean. Just clean. I need a place, Stripes. Why don't I know any rich women that are willing to put me up for like a...
I'm a rich woman and I want it.
You're not... Stripes, you don't have your own place. That's what I mean. And most of the women that I know probably have a baby that will be taking up any spare rooms that they have. God, look, this list is not as, I don't know. I don't want to say poppy as I expected it to be. This is a neat Alexander tidbit, though. I should probably just read another list, and that'll make up for the mediocrity of this list. So if you were listening to this list and you're like, man, this list isn't what I'm about, just stick it out to the end, and then I'll put up another list, and we'll go from there. Love you. Number 8. In the late 1800s, writers complained that young adults are losing touch with reality. Instead of sitting at the dinner table with family, they have their noses buried in a magazine. It's funny because the magazine of the time became like the TV of the time, became like the computer of the time, became the phone of the time. And soon, Stripes, we'll have chips in our heads and we'll be translating our thoughts to monkey balls across the world. Until the cyber wars begin. 20 million dead. Okay, I'm sorry. Jesus.
Are you saying you get a chip put into your head if it were more convenient for you?
I'm saying I think it's an inevitability, and I think everybody will have some iteration of...
You think they're going to be mandated? Is that where you're getting at?
Stripes, you're overthinking it. It's not like oh man, Big Brother's coming down and you better put this chip in your head. It's going to be something that people elect to do because it'll be more convenient. And in the future, it'll probably just be viewed as a convenience, a luxury, because, you know, these types of things will be readily available to you at a thought, as opposed to you having to bother yourself with input and shit like this and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it'll trick people into, I want to say, like the way that you're thinking of it right now. You're thinking, oh man, well, if I can access that kind of thing that way, surely a door, opened, maybe walk through from both sides. You know what I mean? So somebody could get access into your brain or something like that. But again, people don't care. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody came out with a chip today and was like, yo, put this chip in your head, you can access the internet without hands free. You know what I mean? At any time. You don't have to worry about Wi-Fi. You don't have to worry about anything. This chip will just link. Dude, it's so great. She needs to clean that room. Stripes is getting in trouble. Man.
I should probably just go.
Shouldn't you just clean the room, and we'll talk later then, okay?
Okay.
All right. Talk to you later. Dude, she called me. She should have been cleaning that room. Oh my God. I shouldn't upload this, guys, but, you know, it's my hope that this will be entertaining in a way to someone. That will make them help me get a place, because I need a place. Jeez. Okay. Just want a roof over my head, okay? So that I can freaking live and record around the clock, baby. The thing is, I don't even need like more than a room, really, you know, and not even like a big room. It could be like a closet sized room. It could be like a Japanese like room where I'm just crammed in there like a fucking sardine. I could leave to use the bathroom and shower. Or I could figure out a shower with like a, let's not go into this, guys. What am I talking about? Number 7. I am in nearly my early 20s. I am in my early 20s. Wow. Part of me saw early and put an N on there. That's really interesting. I am in my early 20s. And when my grandmother was a child living in the South, an elderly neighbor would tell grandma about how when she was herself a little girl, she remembered seeing the Confederate troops march in the Civil War. It's so strange to think that an event which seems so distant really happened within 2 human lifespans. Damn. Number 6, man. If you are 25 years old, you have lived through more than 10% of history of the United States of America. 10%. Number 5, how deplorable the condition were just being in the Royal Navy in the 17th century. How deplorable the conditions were. You would work in disgusting, stupidly dangerous conditions, had more than a 50% chance of dying, and after 3 years of this, they would find an excuse not to pay you at all. This is why a lot of them became pirates. There was a saying that the only difference between prison and the Navy is that in the Navy you might drown too. Jesus Christ. That's so dark. Oh man. To honor we call you as free men, not slaves, for we are so free as the sons of, for who are so free as the sons of waves. This is fucking crazy. That's why so many people became pirates. Number 4, the loss of life in the world wars. Around 38 million in World War I and around 60 million in World War II. Every time I think of World War II now, I'm going to be thinking about hopefully having a place and being secure again soon. So that when Call of Duty World War II comes back, you know I'm going to get it, baby. You know I'm going to let it back into my life. I saw a top comment on a thread talking about Call of Duty World War II. And they were like, it said, Call of Duty is like a girl, it's like an X, as like an X that says they've changed and you let them back in. Oh my God. Just thinking about how catastrophic and damaging that must have been for people and communicating is something I just can't comprehend. In World War I, buddy battalions were common in Britain, where they would recruit and keep men together from local areas. The idea being that the connection would help morale and bring them together. Just looking at the dead from the Battle of Somme, 72,000 plus people died from the UK and Commonwealth. Entire battalions wiped out. Entire villages and towns losing all their men and boys. Hundreds of families who knew each other, who all on the same day find every recruited soldier from that area has died. The loss must have been unimaginable. This is perhaps the most interesting thing in the list, and it genuinely silenced me, and I apologize. I should be reading these things. But somebody notes that Tolkien, the man who wrote the Lord of the Rings, he served in a war of some sort, in some kind of battle, perhaps. He and several of his friends served in the Fusiliers and fought in the combat several times together. They were not in the first assault. They were held in reserve at that point. They did help capture the German stronghold 2 weeks later, though, and Tolkien fought in and out of the trenches for months around the time. This is the author of The Lord of the Rings, and apparently he fought in some crap. I had no fucking idea. In the months before Somme, 3 former schoolmates of Tolkien became Middle-earth fans. They remarked that Tolkien's vision was a new light for a world plunged into darkness. Tolkien began seeing Samwise Gamgee in the common soldier. 2 of his 3 former schoolmates died at Somme. In letters, he remarked on friendships formed and lost due to war. The spirits of what became the Fellowship of the Ring started to form in Tolkien's mind during the period in life. I had no idea that war was so profound a motivation for this fucking fantastic author. Tolkien's girlfriend, says another commenter, wife, at some point, strongly insinuated that he was being a wimp for being bedridden with illness for so long after he returned from the war. What a bitch! Somebody else said, so Lord of the Rings was a big attempt to explain post-traumatic stress disorder? The bite of the blade that never quite healed. Somebody else says, well, have you ever noticed how Tolkien, unlike many other fantasy writers, doesn't focus on the battles? He even skips it in The Hobbit. And someone else says, shame that the films are like 80% battle sequences. That's what everybody, is entertained by, I guess. So that's what happened. But the spirit of the book, holy bing bong. That's the most interesting thing in this list, so forgive me for being a nerd. Number 3. At the Battle of Monte Cassino in 1944, the 222nd Artillery Supply Commander under the Polish 2nd Corps had a beer named Wojtek and would bring artillery shells to forward gun positions. That didn't say beer. It said bear. Let me repeat that. A motherfucking bear would fetch them artillery shells. That's pretty cute. Where the picture? I wish we had pictures of shit like this. Somebody said, by the way, here he is driving a truck. This better not be not safe for work. He's not driving. He was just in the monkey balls. Wojtek. Look, he's got a little emblem, soldier bear. Oh my god. Soldier bear up in this hoe. Number 2. The number of aircraft destroyed during World War II is greater than the number of aircraft that currently exist in the entire world today. Wow. when you think about shit like that, you think about like video games. I don't know if you guys have ever played like a real-time strategy game, or, you know, maybe you play like Civilization, and you're just churning out as many fucking planes and shit like this as you can make sometimes, you know what I mean? And when you think about like old school days, how they were really cranking out some shit, it's like, man, just to have them destroyed. Number 1, I think the craziest shit that gets me to think that throughout all history, there was everyday people who just lived their life. Imagine, say, it's 3000 BC. Imagine you are not a pharaoh or a wealthy merchant or shit. You're just an average Egyptian dude chilling at his house in the middle of 3000 BC Egypt. Imagine what your house would be like, or the night sky, or your street, your dinner, your cat, your problems, or things that might bring you joy. History sounds so distant because when you study it, we think of kings and presidents and huge-ass buildings and shit, and we forget that throughout all that crap, the majority of humankind was, as it is today, composed by just regular people. Somebody says, if I recall correctly, one of the oldest clay tablets we have deciphered is about paying taxes on crops or something equally mundane. Somebody said it was a note regarding a transaction between a merchant and a very rude servant, I believe. What a world. Guys, love you to death. And I'll just try to make another video today. Woo. I hope you're well. And I hope that if it's not great, that it gets better. We gotta hope the same for each other every day. Take it easy.